Hi, I'm Diego from De Oro Music, and today we're having a look at another tango falseta, and this one is extensive with pulgar. So if you're working on that technique, this is going to be a great one. And also, this one's just a lot of fun, so I hope you enjoy. In Tango 5, we start out with 4 measures of rasgueo compás, and we'll have some rasgueo that we've seen before, this one, which is I up, A down, and I down on the beat. That sort of thing. And then the other one we'll see is A down, M down, I down. Nothing new here, we've seen these all before. First 2 measures. Now these next 2 measures, we've got quite involved with the thumb here. So we've got golpe, indice, and then pulgar. Now, as we move on to the main falseta idea, we'll start to really become involved with the right hand thumb technique. And I just want to mention a few things to remember as you're doing this. A few ways that we'll use the thumb. One is just from the thumb joint itself. If you're, for example, single note lines. And another way to play those single notes in this main idea is to involve a little bit of wrist, and the idea is to sort of give it a snap like, I just imagine it's an oud line, and so you're trying to get that sort of tone, and that comes from a little bit of wrist whipping that thumbnail against the string. Another way that we'll see the thumb being used is alzapua, and so of course there, everybody should be familiar with that, but a few things to remember. Combination of wrist and thumb. And also just watch that you keep the movement minimal. So some areas where sometimes there's extraneous movement is sometimes there can be too much forearm. So you want to avoid that. And the other thing is overshooting the mark when you come back. For example, coming up too high with the thumb. And so watch those things. Just try to keep it tight. Look for minimal movement. It's great for me having these cameras set up and being able to watch my hands in a way that I don't always have the opportunity to. You can really find some areas that can use improvement. So if you're at home, video yourself, record yourself often, play in front of a mirror, practice in front of a mirror, and always trying to just keep that right hand tight. Watch guys like Tomatito and Paco de Lucia, Vicente Amigo, all the greats. They're great for a reason, but watch the right hand and look at how efficient it is. Try to make your hand look like that. So back now at measure 5. Really, no real trick to this. Just, I guess, just in your hammers and pulls, that last pull off some of the feel comes from that. So just work on the feel. It's a little bit subtle. Not every note is equal. The answering phrase. Of course, those strums are just up with the thumb, down with the hand. Moving on, measure 9. Now here, really the only little trick in there is in this part, that pull off, and then we shift our first finger to get that next pull off. Now, again, use of the thumb. Here we see it used down, 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 up. When you're doing that technique, because it's going to go quite fast, just try to keep it relaxed. There you could involve a little bit of forearm movement if you wanted. You could float it. More with the pulgar. Here we have pulgar y índice, thumb and index. And because the thumb and the index finish so close, you can benefit from really keeping a fluid, that last knuckle of the thumb, keeping that nice and fluid to help you get that last note, that third note before the index. Here, we've got that bar on strings 5 and 6 with our second finger. Sort of bending that back, letting that knuckle bend backwards if you're able. Hope you're able, because that's really common in flamenco. Same idea with the pulgar índice in measure 15. And now we come into some alzapua. Measure 19 can be a little tricky to grasp. You've got a 4-note rhythm, taka 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 taka, and you've got a 3-note figure being played in that 4-note rhythm. So it ends up creating sort of a polyrhythm, taka da da taka taka da da taka da 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 da. So look at that with the metronome. Measure 21, just like measure 3. Now here we go into a pulgar idea, which is in a triplet rhythm. 3, 4, and. Into alzapua. And on to your next falseta. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoy working on this falseta. It really is a lot of fun when you bring it up to speed. Tabs for this lesson and others can be found on my website, deoromusic.com. Along with, we now have an ebook of the Picado book and an ebook version of the Carcassi 25 Melodic and Progressive Studies. So be sure to check those out. Enjoy and keep practicing.